Hi, friends. Okay, this is Dual Credit U.S. History B, Unit 4, which is about the Cold War and civil rights. This is such a crucial unit, I feel like, in understanding kind of how our world works and why it works the way that it does right now. So, if you go to this page in my website, which you probably don't really have to do, but if you did, that's what you would see. Okay, so this is going to be your project about the Cold War, Vietnam, and civil rights. And I want to explain this to you first so that you have kind of something that you are working towards. Okay, so what you need to do is you've been chosen by a publishing company to make a children's book about the Cold War and civil rights unit. Your job is to create a book that educates children about the Cold War and civil rights. You must have the following in your book. It must be articulate with correct grammar, spelling, also you know, correct things that happened is a really good thing. Include illustrations of some kind on every page. Those can be computer generated. Don't worry about that, okay? It must be historically accurate. Like I said, it needs to be correct. You must teach about two of the following things that happened in the Cold War: the Cold War at home and abroad, the Vietnam War, and you need to talk about the Vietnam War, okay? And then the Civil Rights Movement. Okay, so you choose the Vietnam War and either the Cold War or the Civil Rights Movement. And you need to develop your story by adding some details of importance. I have gotten some really fabulous children's stories from this assignment, and I'm looking forward to reading yours as well. So this is how the points add up. You get some points for just the product, for just having it be the right product, and then you also have some points um, for having everything that for having everything be accurate and for having it portray the things that it needs to portray. Okay? So, if you have any questions about that, please let me know. All right? Let's talk really fast about the things that you may or may not put in your children's book. Okay? So, during this time in the 1950s, there was some serious worry that the world was just going to turn to communism, and there were witch hunts, meaning that we were just afraid that anyone living in your neighborhood could be a communist, and you know you need to report the commies and stuff like that. So that was a really really big thing. Okay, there was also the Second Great Migration, which was kind of from Mexico that it happened, and then we have the Korean War. Whoops, the Korean War that happened. The Korean War is really a forgotten war in a lot of instances. Kind of the only thing that we really have of the Korean War is the show MASH, which right now you can watch on Netflix if you want to. Anyway, it's kind of entertaining. My parents used to watch MASH all the time, so there you go. Stuff about JFK. I listened to an audiobook about the killing of JFK, which was super interesting and went into his life and all of that stuff. Super interesting stuff. Okay, and then we have the Vietnam War, and there are so many, this is really the first war that was documented by photographers. Okay, and there were pictures like this that came out of the Vietnam War. And so this really caused a lot of problems at home. There were a lot of people who were very opposed to the Vietnam War. And pictures like this. People don't like to see pictures like this, of monks lighting themselves on fire and stuff. It's generally a bad thing. All right, lesson 19 is about the civil rights movement. and about Martin Luther King Jr. and his movement and the sit-ins and the things that they did for this. Now, please remember, this is 100 years after slaves were set free. Okay, it takes a long time for people to be okay with race. All right, 100 years ago, they were not okay with race. Even people in the North, that we act like they were okay with race, they were not okay with race. They really were not. All right. And then lesson 20, let's see if I have a slide, is about the fight for rights. We have other people who fought for rights too. And so that's kind of interesting stuff as well. Okay, so this is the stuff that you need to put in your children's book. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know and I will talk to you later. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.